We, the jury, find as follows as to count 1. The defendant is guilty of manslaughter, a lesser included offense.
Hi everybody, it's me, AV. Welcome back to my YouTube channel where we talk about all things law, true crime, and a little bit, a smidge of debauchery. So if you were with us last night, we live streamed the entire Julio Foolio trial and we got to the most important part, which is the verdict. The verdict came out last night at almost 10 p.m. And because we were live streaming, YouTube actually cuts off the stream after 12 hours and the verdict came out right around 13 and a half hours. For those that have missed it, I am going to go through the verdict one more time. We're going to react to that and then I will explain the sentence that is upcoming, the sentencing hearing, and we'll also go through the data that we've gotten from you, the court of public opinion, throughout the week. Let's jump into it. There's Alicia looking very nervous. Let's go.
In the Circuit Court of the 13th Judicial Circuit of the State of Florida, in and for Hillsborough County Criminal Justice Division, State of Florida versus Alicia Latoya Andrews, case number 24 CF 1911996, Trial Division 1, verdict form. We, the jury, find as follows as to count 1. The defendant is guilty of manslaughter, a lesser included offense. We, the jury, find as follows as to count 2. The defendant is not guilty. So say we all, dated this 31st day of October 2025, signed foreperson of the jury.
All right, thank you very much. Have a seat.
There it is. Alicia was found not guilty on the conspiracy charges and she got manslaughter, which is one of the lesser includeds of all of the types of murder in the state of Florida. They didn't find her guilty of first-degree murder. They didn't find her guilty of second-degree murder, but they went to the lowest level in this case, and that is manslaughter. We'll talk about that in a second, but let's see what happens in the courtroom here.
So, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to ask you, each of you, this is your true and correct verdict. I'm going to call you by your initials and your jury number. And I just need you to respond yes or no, okay? All right, juror number 5, initials DC. Is this your true and correct verdict? Yes. Juror number 13, initials LM. Is this your true and correct verdict? Juror number 14, initials SC. Is this your true and correct verdict?
Yes.
Juror 21, initials EM. Is this your true and correct verdict?
Yes.
Juror number 23, initials CJ. Is this your true and correct verdict?
Yes.
Juror number 41, initials AM. Is this your true and correct verdict?
Yes.
Juror number 42, initials LL. Is this your true and correct verdict?
Yes.
Juror number 45, initials JO. Is this your true and correct verdict?
Yes.
Juror number 58, initials SH. Is this your true and correct verdict?
Yes.
Juror number 61, initials SM. Is this your true and correct verdict?
Yes.
Juror number 62, initials PB. Is this your true and correct verdict?
Yes.
Juror number 71, initials MG. Is this your true and correct verdict?
Yes.
Okay. All right, very good. I have one final set of very brief formal instructions and then something a little less formal to say to you all. Ladies and gentlemen, I wish to thank you for your time and consideration of this case. I also wish to advise you of some very special privileges enjoyed by jurors. No juror can ever be required to talk about the discussions that occurred in the jury room except by court order. For many centuries, our society has relied upon juries for consideration of difficult cases. We have recognized for hundreds of years that a jury's deliberations, discussions, and votes should remain their private affairs as long as they wish it. Therefore, the law gives you a unique privilege not to speak about the jury's work. Although you are at liberty to speak with anyone about your deliberations, you are also at liberty to refuse to speak to anyone. A request to discuss either your verdict or your deliberations may come from those who are simply curious, from the media, from the attorneys, or elsewhere. It will be up to you to decide whether to preserve your privacy as a juror. On behalf of everyone, we are indebted to you. We are so grateful that you all agreed to serve as jurors. I would never tell anyone we have a perfect legal system. We do not have a perfect criminal justice system. But in my humble opinion, we have the best in the history of the world, because as you can see, we have citizens like yourselves. You come from all different backgrounds, experiences, and you come together and you decide these very difficult cases. We've asked a lot of you over the past 2 weeks. You all have never complained. You've worked diligently. And on just behalf of everyone involved, you all should really go home tonight and feel good about yourselves as citizens and the important public service that you provided on behalf of everybody.
So a couple things there. What happens after the verdict is read, as the jury is released? Now, we had some opinions last night because I typically don't recommend that juries begin deliberations on Fridays, but sometimes you get what you get. The judge in this case had the jury begin deliberation around 6:30 p.m. and they came back with a verdict about 3.5, 4 hours later around 10 p.m. She even gave them the option to come back on Monday, but the jury decided to stay and continue deliberation. During that deliberation, there was only one question from the jury, and they wanted to know the principal legal concept would apply if she were to receive a second-degree murder charge. Most people thought she was going to receive that second-degree murder charge, or maybe that we might result into a hung jury. I certainly thought that that's where we were going to land. However, to everyone's surprise, the jury went for the lightest sentence when it came to manslaughter. Now, let's talk about manslaughter and then we'll talk about next steps for Alicia. The jury found her guilty on manslaughter. That tells us the jury found a criminal killing, but not murder. So no premeditation, no malice, and the state didn't prove those higher elements. That's why they went for the lighter charge. For first degree, you need the premeditation, the planning, the mens rea, right? Things. The jury didn't find that here. This means that the state didn't convince the jury beyond a reasonable doubt that the death was caused by an intentional act or by what Florida calls culpable negligence. This also tells us that the jurors were wrestling with cause and level of blame, exactly where this charge lives. In Florida, manslaughter means a person caused the death either by an intentional act without the elements that make it murder or through culpable negligence. Think extreme carelessness that shows reckless disregard for human life. The statute literally says killing by act, procurement, or culpable negligence without lawful justification and not amounting to murder. Now, oftentimes, and we talked about this last night, you'll typically hear terms like voluntary manslaughter and involuntary manslaughter. Voluntary manslaughter is the intentional act in the heat of passion after serious provocation. The most common use of involuntary manslaughter is a husband coming home, finding his wife in bed with someone else because he was provoked. He gets into a fight with the other guy in the room, kills him. Voluntary manslaughter. Involuntary manslaughter, that is the culpable negligence route. No intent to kill, but conduct so reckless it crosses into criminal. Think drunk driving. That's why you'll hear things like vehicular manslaughter. That would fall into involuntary type manslaughter. Now let's talk about sentencing for Alicia. Standard manslaughter in Florida is a second-degree felony, up to 15 years in prison and a $10,000 fine. If it's aggravated manslaughter, like the victim is a child, elderly, or disabled, law enforcement, first responder in the line of duty, then it's a first-degree felony up to 30 years. We don't have that here with Alicia. So total, Alicia could look at a maximum sentence of 15 years. The judge did say that her sentencing hearing was going to be scheduled for December 8th at 8:30. We will be there. And what can you expect in a sentencing hearing? Typically, the judge will already have thought about how much time they're going to sentence the defendant before the time begins, after the conviction. Recent examples include Diddy's sentencing hearing and Donna Adelson's. Now, typically what happens is you'll hear from family members, friends, people that are trying to persuade the judge either to give the defendant a large amount of time, leaning towards the max, or to give the defendant a lighter sentence. So in this case, we're likely to hear from Alicia's family, people that know her, that want to advocate for a lighter sentence. So you'll probably expect that. On the contrary, we're likely to hear from Foolio's mom wanting a higher sentence, or people that are in the Foolio camp describing why she should receive the full 15 years. The judge will hear both sides, then determine the final sentence. Typically, these can go anywhere between an hour to 2 hours, depending on how many people are speaking at the sentencing hearing. So we can expect that on December 8th. December 8th is a busy day for us because that is the tentative trial start date for OnlyFans model Courtney Clenny. If you need to get up to speed on that case in the next few weeks, we will develop our full playlist on that. Otherwise, you can check out the video that is up there. So what do you think? Did the jury land in the right place for Alicia? What I can tell you is throughout the week, we started on Monday, court of public opinion, with 40% guilty, and a lot of people had changed their minds throughout the week. I can tell you yesterday when we started live streaming on Friday, the very last day of this trial, day 8, we were at 65% guilty, court of public opinion. So let us know what you think in the comment section below. Julio Foolio has justice with the first of 5 defendants charged with his murder. See you guys in the next one. Stay safe out there. Bye.